Hello everyone, welcome to Arogium. This is my very special guest today, Wendell Anderson Sr.,
Yes,
CEO of Natty Records. Is this true?
that is true, absolutely.
Okay.
And excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you. This is a legend here in Cincinnati. No one, look, I'm a youngster. I should know my legends, right? I should know my legends.
Yeah, you should.
Yes.
Yes.
And this brother was the lead singer of the Hughes Corporation.
Yes.
Now, I did my research. Now, supposedly, it was supposed to be a take on Howard Hughes Corporation, and Hughes, H-U-E-S,
Yes.
is like the tones and
That's
colors
correct.
of our skin based on
Correct.
our nationality
Correct.
and
The
background.
hues of the complexion.
Hughes of the complexion. What a great, the Hughes Corporation with their big hit,
Yes.
Rock the Boat.
That's correct.
If you guys are at home, you need to dial that up, Rock the Boat.
Pull it up.
I was listening to it all night last night,
Yeah.
trying to get into the energy
It
of
is
the.
still infectious.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So now, brother, tell me how were you born here in Cincinnati?
Born and raised in Cincinnati, January 10th, 1954.
Huh.
I am 62 years young.
Brother, 62. I almost fell off my chair when he told me.
Yes, sir.
Because he looks great, and I'm assuming this is all because of the music.
By and large, and God's good grace. That
Okay.
probably more than anything.
Okay. I
Okay?
love it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now, you went to Hughes High
Hughes
School. What
High
a
School,
coincidence.
right here. The Hugh Go Big Red. Yes.
And tell me, when did you know that music was going to be who you were?
Quick story. We grew up part of our growing up in the city of Cincinnati. We lived in a section of Cincinnati called Madisonville.
Oh yeah,
And we're
I
like
go get
five-
when I used to get fades and goatees. I used to go
Okay.
there.
Okay. So we were like 5 or 6
Barbershop
years
down there.
old, living right there on Wetzel Avenue. There was a funeral home right next door to us called Maxey Funeral Home, and the Maxey family is still to this day still friends of ours. So my uncle, who sang in our church choir, his name is Melvin Coleman. I love him to death. He's definitely one of my favorite uncles. And there was a show back in the late '50s called the original Ted Mack Amateur Hour. My uncle was fortunate to audition for this show, and I want to add one little caveat. This show, the original Ted Mack Amateur Hour, was actually the precursor, if you will, for today's American Idol. What would happen is the host would have a number of different artists come on to perform, whether they played an instrument or whether they sang or whatever it happened to be. They would come out, they would be introduced, they would perform their act, and then if they won that night's show, they would then come back next week to compete again. So that's kind of how it started. My uncle was fortunate that he went on the show. He sang a Negro spiritual called They Call the Wind Mariah. It's a beautiful song. You can just look it up. It's a beautiful standard spiritual. He sang this song. He won the first night, and we're all crowded around this little black and white television watching Uncle Melvin. And my goal was to try and figure out how I could get in that box like Uncle Melvin was in that box.
And how old were you?
I was 5 years old.
5 years
Five
old.
years old. Now, I didn't know what the word star meant, didn't matter. All I know is that that's what I wanted to be when I grew up, what Uncle Melvin was doing. So he won. He came back to Cincinnati, back in the choir stand. The following week, he went back to compete again, and he lost to a tuba player. So if you just get that, a singer losing to a tuba player on television.
Hey, look, I don't hate.
Those
The
are the
tuba
times.
player must have been good.
Well,
I don't hate. Tuba,
good.
tuba players don't get their
and those
reps
were the
sometimes.
times in our country too that you're living in, because you have to talk the late '50s.
I get you.
Cincinnati. So Uncle Melvin won, and that was my start. That's where I saw it. That's where it ignited my flame and my passion for this business, and I've been at this ever since.
Now, was your family? Did you grow up with music in the house?
Yes, I grew up with from a singing family. My father has passed on. He was a great singer in a lot of gospel singers around Cincinnati. Pretty much everybody on my mom's side of the family had some sort of talent, had they chosen, whether they wanted to play piano, which one of my aunts, self-taught, played piano for our church for a number of years until she retired. We all sang in the choir. We were all on the usher board or something, and only a handful of us dabbled into the entertainment industry post-gospel. music, that sort of thing. So I was one of those little crazy nuts that decided it's out there. I want to go. I want to go. So yeah.
Now, 5 years old.
Yes.
When did you get your first gig where you got some income?
The first gigs where we got some income, we put together a singing group. This is the first singing group that we're in. If I remember correctly, the name of the group was called The Neighborhood, or The Neighborhood Five. There were 5 of us. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, 3 of us attended Hughes High School, and the other 2 members attended Walnut Hills High School here in Cincinnati.
Shout out to both Hughes and
shout
Walnut
out both
Hills.
Hughes and Walnut Hills Eagles. So we put the group together, and we thought we were going to become the next Temptations.
Nice.
Now, interestingly enough, in this singing group, we would perform in a musical production at our high school at Hughes called the Merry-Go-Round. So we were in there every year, and it seemed like every year we were fortunate we won. We sang a lot of stuff a cappella, and for those of you that don't know what that means you sing with no musical accompaniment, just your voice and your ear to listen to harmonies. So we sang a lot that way. So we actually got our first gigs with that group, and we would sing all over town, like Mount Auburn and around the little at festivals and things like that. So that was the first introduction to actually getting paid.
And how old were you?
Now, by this time, we're like 16.
16.
16 years old, right.
Okay.
Right.
And so then you get your first gig, I'm sure getting some income for
Yes.
doing something that you want to do
Right.
anyway, felt
Right.
great.
Right, exactly.
Now tell me the process from there to the Hughes Corporation.
Okay, all right. So the process from there, after I left, graduated from high school, I hung around Cincinnati for a year and a half, and I was married, had a young marriage and young kids. I decided to enlist in the Air Force. But I, talked to the recruiters and said, okay, fine, I'm going to wait for a minute. I then went on and attended Ohio State University. So I was at Ohio
Buckeye.
State.
I attended Ohio State.
Yeah, I was at Ohio State
All
for
right.
2.5, almost
All right.
3 years. Didn't graduate, but I was there for communications. That was my field. I lived in Park Hall on South Campus. So
I lived in the stadium. I lived in Ohio
Okay,
Stadium.
so we know what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So after I left college, then I went in the Air Force. I enlisted in our great country's Air Force. I served for 9.5 years. Honorably discharged.
Let's pay tribute to our troops.
Yes, Air Force veteran, and I'm so thankful.
Congratulations.
Had
We
several
appreciate
relatives
all
in
of
my
our
family
troops.
who I had to look at. I got an opportunity to look at. So I had an uncle who was one of the early Chief Master Sergeants of the Air Force, 33 years, and then one of my favorite cousins, who was an Air Force pilot. He was featured on billboards back in the day. I'm going to say like the late 60s. There used to be these billboards around Cincinnati, trying to get folks to enlist in the Air Force. And it said, aim high, go Air Force. And my cousin was the first black pilot seen on those billboards across the country. His name was Captain Ron Reed. What's up, cuz?
Family. It's all about family.
It's all about family, yes.
All right, so now, they
Yes.
call me Tanjeet because I go off on tangents,
That's
and I
okay.
asked you how you got
Yeah,
to the Hughes
no problem.
Corporation.
So, all right, so
but I had a question.
Yes,
The
yes,
reason
by
why
all means.
because, look, you think Air Force, military, and then you think Hughes Corporation or music.
Yeah.
You don't see the,
Right.
usually you see like these people that are, well, God bless our military, and
yes.
they're very disciplined and everything.
Yes.
And sometimes, folks don't think that people that are in music can't be that way. And you're living proof
Yes.
that you could be both ways.
And here's how we did it. The Air Force, I enlisted, and my basic training, which we all go through basic training, is down in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base. Then you are given your particular job that you have signed up to do. Mine was a radio operator, meaning I'm going to be talking to pilots who are flying from point A to point B. My technical school was in Biloxi, Mississippi. I was down there for 9 weeks, and after I came out of tech school, I got my first job assignment, which was Turkey. It was one of our bases called Incirlik over in Turkey. So my Turkish is not too good, not as good as it was back in then. But merhaba nasılsınız teşekkür ederim. İyi akşamlar. So I had a great time. I was over there for almost 3 years. Now this is how the connection getting to the Hughes Corporation. There's a program in the Air Force called Tops in Blue. This program showcases all of the top entertainment in the Air Force. So whether you sing, dance, play an instrument, each Air Force base had an opportunity to host what we call a base level talent contest. All you do is just try out. If you win at your base level competition, then you are elevated to what we call a command level, like a mid-level, if you will. You win there, then you go on to what we call Air Force Worldwide. That means exactly what it says. Every winner from every Air Force base in the world descends on one predetermined Air Force base in the States. And all of those winners will come together for a week of competition, where once you win, you are selected to go on tour with Air Force Thompson Blue, and you're touring around the world for about a year, entertaining all of the troops. So I did this as part of this program for the entire time, fortunately and blessed, while I was in the service. But now, once I separated from the Air Force in March of '85, that's where my civilian career launched. I was in Tampa, Florida. That was the last base I was at MacDill Air Force Base there. And a friend of mine invited me to come visit him in upstate New York. Now, upstate New York, you've got all of the Poconos and the Catskills and all the big fancy hotels that the hoi polloi from New York City in the winter, they'd come up and they'd spend the winter and that kind of thing.
New York City.
New York.
I was in Brooklyn 10 years. I was in
Okay,
Brooklyn 10 years.
So
Yeah.
you know the drill.
Yes.
So I meet some different folks, a series of circumstances and happenstances. A gentleman named Lance Dowdell agreed to become my manager and agent. He introduced me to a gentleman named Kim Nicholas, who was a musician. That union got me my first opportunity at the Granite Hotel, which was one of the big hotels up there. I had a 9-piece house orchestra backing me up. I had a 45-minute show, and I came out and I sang every...
We're going to go out on the town.
Yes.
No, we
yes.
got to go out.
We will, absolutely.
We're going to go out. Come on, are you serious?
So I came out and
I'm going to buy you a beer. We're going to have a beer.
I opened for Jackie Mason.
And Sharon?
Sarah.
Sarah will come.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, all right.
Be honored. So Jackie Mason was the headliner that night. So
Jackie
anybody
Mason,
that doesn't know
he's
Jackie Mason, the stand-up comic,
Yeah.
he was the headliner that night from my debut. I came out, had 45 minutes, and we knocked them dead. We had 2,000 people in the house, and they were clamoring to get backstage, and we set it off that night. So that's how I launched my solo career in the civilian sector post-Air Force. But now, how do I still get to the Hughes Corporation? I stayed in New York for 3 years. I realized that my heart still hadn't been fulfilled because I was trying to feel this R&B thing. I got to get to it. So I got in my little heavy Chevy. I packed up all my gear.
Heavy
I
Chevy.
drove
I love
my little Chevy hatchback. I drove from New York, from Kingston, New York, to Los Angeles.
Kingston, New York.
It took me 2.5 days to get there. I spent a couple of days staying with my...
Kingston, New York to Los Angeles.
Yes. And I stayed with my
Brother's
uncle for a day or
insane.
two. That's right, because I wanted it bad. And you got to be a good kind of hustler. You want to make it in this business. In other words, everything, it does not evolve around money. A lot of it just revolves around you and your grit and your ability to kind of move yourself. So if you're going to hustle and you know how to get out there and go for what you want, then you can be sitting in this chair too.
This brother came because he's motivating me.
That's it.
Yeah,
This is how we do it.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm out in Los Angeles, and I'm working a regular job. I'm a single dad raising a young son. I'm doing shows in and around. I start working in television, and I start working on some of the television sitcoms of the day, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Martin and shows like that. I was an extra doing some background work and atmosphere. While I was doing that, I was still putting together music projects. I put together a band called Raising Cain, and we were doing showcases. We debuted at the Roxy and things like that. We were doing the musical soundtracks for gospel plays. So in other words, we were doing a live vocal soundtrack as the play was occurring. So when they had music, they would cut to us and we'd sing the song and take you to the next scene. So I was putting together groups doing things like that. I had a trio called Tapestry that we put together. We were doing some amazing things. And then in 1989, I got word that the Hughes Corporation was getting ready to restart. The former lead singer, Fleming Williams, had passed on. The gentleman who had the group in his hands at the time, St. Clair Lee, who was the last original member. Now he's passed on. But he auditioned me. I got word about it. I auditioned. I had to go through 4 auditions to get that lead singer position with the Hughes Corporation. And in 1991, I became the lead singer and still current, the lead singer of the Hughes Corporation.
How did that change your life?
It changed my life, because it enabled me to stay on a path that I was on while I was in the Air Force Entertainment, meaning traveling around the world, becoming more globally aware of the power of music and the power of entertainment, and how to
Can you believe this brother's 62? Go ahead.
and how to move people through song and through what you deliver from from the stage, from that platform. For me, that was the launch point where the Hughes Corporation became my life's work, because now I saw what I could do with this group that had name recognition. Now, I wasn't on the original recording, didn't matter, but to date, I've got the same manager who put that group together.
Sure.
The group is now mine. I've now got the group signed to Natty Records as well.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And we're going to do an updated version of Rock the Boat sometime soon.
Okay, so this brother's perfect at leading into the next question, which is, you went from the Hughes Corporation, that was from 1990 till now.
Till now, currently.
And when did you create, because you're the CEO of Natty Records here in Cincinnati.
Yes, sir.
And when did Natty Records get
Natty
formed?
Records breathed its first breath March the 3rd in 2010. 2010 is when.
And tell everyone why you decided to
Yes.
open up Natty Records.
Now, I decided to build this independent record company because of all of my years of being turned down, having doors slammed in my face, having secretaries throw my music in the trash after I leave out of the office. Those are disappointing times, but they never said to me, quit, give up, go do something different. What it said to me is that, they just don't know yet. I'm going to keep coming until I get where I'm trying to get to. And thank God that my mother instilled that in all of us. So just kept going. And that's basically, how I was able to kind of circumvent the nonsense. Because again, record companies, if you did not have an agent, if you didn't have a manager, if you didn't have someone who was escorting you through the door to meet whomever you were going there to meet, you weren't going to get you weren't going to get signed, you weren't going to deal. In fact, you weren't even going to get in the door. Security was going to stand right there and bar the door so that you couldn't come in. And all you wanted to do was play your music. So what you do is you find inside of you what you're made of, and you say, listen, I want this bad enough that I'm not going to let this scene deter me, and you just keep going. And that's basically how we managed to keep going and get Natty Records off the ground. So the long and short of Natty Records is that when I started building it, and even as I am today, believe it or not, here's a lesson where you don't have to have money to move your life or to change a life. I have essentially surrounded myself with people who are smarter than me in the things that they themselves do. Let me give you an example. A friend of mine who is an attorney here in Los Angeles, you see where my head's at, here in Cincinnati, works for a big law firm here. We became fast friends. Their daughter was looking to get some singing lessons, and I was teaching her and giving her some help originally. So one thing led to another. So this gentleman and his wife, we all became fast friends. And probably about 6 months from the day that we kind of started, hanging around each other, working with each other, they helped me get my licensing for Natty Records. So that was the first step. They paid for my license because I said I didn't have two nickels to rub together. Okay, so we managed to to move from there with my knowledge and my expertise that was garnered through all of my years of traveling around the world, working with all types of groups, whether they were 70s groups, whether they were standards, groups from the 50s and 60s, or whether it was the Temptations. Whoever it is I had an opportunity to work with, I learned something from them. I took a little bit from them, and then learned more about the record industry. This is a business. It is, and you must understand, it is a business. There are attorneys and there are folks out here who see it as nothing other than that. But the beauty of what we're trying to do with Natty Records, we're trying to remind you that it's music first. It's still a business, but it's music first. And one of the things that I believe is missing in the music business is real music. So, to sum that up, that's one of the things that what Natty Records is deigning to do. We are reinvigorating the music business here in Cincinnati. We're bringing back real live entertainment, real lyrics that matter. We're trying to put something back in this community that has been missing with maybe I could say passing of King Records. King Records, a mainstay here in Cincinnati, is no more. But Natty Records is here, and we hope Natty Records is here to stay.
Okay, so now, you grew up in the 50s and the 60s.
Yes.
Times are different now.
Much.
and I say as a young person that might not have gone through a whole bunch of things, what was something that you take for granted now that you went through, that you sometimes you find yourself, because I know, even though I'm not as wise as you, right? There are things that I remember from back in the day that still come into my head when I'm like walking down the street and I'm like, oh, it's a little different. Is there anything like that that you can share and how you overcame that? Or?
Yes, I think probably the first thing I can share in that vein would be freedom. Freedom, being a veteran, for the folks that don't know, freedom ain't free. Somebody sacrificed something. Somebody paid a price for the freedom that we all enjoy. The reason I use the phraseology of freedom is because back when I was growing up, I grew up in a period where there were colored-only signs and colored drinking fountains. And so I didn't read about that in history books, even though it was printed. I lived through that period. So there was not a lot of freedom, during that period. Now, fast forward to where I am at 62 now, and to your question. I have freedom now that I didn't have then, where I can exercise my opinion. So if there's anything that might be construed as taking, maybe not paying attention to or not appreciating it enough, that would probably be it. We have a tendency to get a little laxed.
Okay.
You see? So.
You mentioned sometimes you'd go in and secretaries would put the music in the trash. I was reading today that Getty Images,
Yes.
which is a stock photography image company, art photographer by the name of Highsmith, who's a very famous photographer, put a large library of her works into the Library of Congress for the public to use. And then Getty Images took those, even though they were public domain, and just started charging people for using them. And the only way this woman, photographer Highsmith, found out is that she herself was charged for using her photograph on her website. So now, corporations aren't. Hey, this is all about money, and we don't hate on people.
No.
And people have to know that there need to be lawyers,
That's
and that
right.
you have to watch your paperwork. And if
Right.
you don't watch your paperwork,
Somebody else will.
Somebody else will. So was there ever a situation where someone ever took work of yours, work that you put together, that you created, that was your passion, your creative spirit, and made income off that?
Fortunately for me, that has not happened to me directly, but I have a lot of friends in this business who it has happened directly. I would dare say that one of the reasons it hasn't happened to me is because I learned from a lot of my friends. I paid attention. Whenever I wrote a phrase, I knew how to do what we call a poor man's copyright. And remember this, it does hold up in court. That means that you write that idea down, whether it's an idea about a television show, a movie, or a song, or whatever it is. You write it down, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, mail it back to yourself, and just put it away in a cabinet someplace for safekeeping so that you know that you have it. That is just in the event that somebody decides to take your material, even though you've gone on and you're with a BMI or ASCAP or whoever you happen to sign with. You will always have a reference to go back to, so that if you happen to walk into a court of law, somebody says, well, how can you prove that you wrote this song? You gotta do is go get that little envelope that has never been opened, and there your idea will be.
One of my favorite things about people is when they give super practical advice. And that is some of the easiest and most simple,
Yes.
practical advice that any musician can get. Now, look, people say they're going to do this for you, they're going to do that for you.
Right.
Why should an artist trust your representation at Natty Records? And what would you bring that artist? Now, I went through your site. I see that you sign country singers.
Yes.
You sign R&B. I'm sure you
Yes.
do classical, whatever.
Yes.
Possibly, maybe you'll do some Indian classical. I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes.
You'll find.
We find the talent.
You find talent and you sign them.
Right.
Why should these artists trust your firm? Number one, and number two, what? And this is cliche, but what is the competitive advantage that you bring to these artists?
Good questions all. First off, artists should trust Natty Records because we personalize our service. We are not looking to be a volume dealer, so to speak, as in terms of how quickly and how much we can get through the gate. Personal service to that particular artist so that you know that we are focused on you, we're focused on what your goals and your dreams are. We can't get you where you want to go if we don't know what it is that you want to do. So that's number one. The second thing is our attention to detail, our organizational capability, who we're connected to, how we present you to the market that you say you want to get to, and then you have a voice with us that you generally will not get with any other record company. If you're a new artist and you're getting signed with a record company, the last thing you're going to have is a voice until they give you one. What's going to happen is they're going to sign you to your deal, and you're going to be caught up in all the glitz and the glamour and the hoopta. Oh, I got a record deal. Oh, I can go out and buy that fancy car. This, that, and other. They're going to put you on the shelf. This is what we frame it. They put you on the shelf for a year or two. They're making money because you're there, and they can put out information. Well, we're getting ready to release an album on so and so, and they've got marketing going on and building the package. You're not doing anything until they say that they're going to either release a record on you or not. But in the meantime, you're under contract, so you can't sign with anybody. So you're stuck. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a lawyer with you when somebody's trying to present a contract to you, somebody that knows something about the business that can read through it, or just somebody that's a little bit smarter than you are and a little bit more knowledgeable about the business than you are, that can say to you, this does not seem like a good idea because you are at a disadvantage here. These people want your music, they want your talent, but what are they offering you in return? Natty Records gives you an opportunity to say, it's all about you. We realize that this is a business and we know that we will make money, but we can't make money if the artist is not being taken care of. So what I learned from my own journey is that we're doing business differently than other record companies, that we are paying attention to the artist, and we're very select, we're very particular about who we bring into our company. So this is not just a revolving door sort of thing. So I think that's probably the best way that I could frame that.
Good. And Natty Records is, and we want to shout out to the whole Cincinnati music scene.
Yes, absolutely.
There are a lot of record companies out there that do good work.
Correct. Absolutely.
That are reliable.
There are many.
There are many, right? And Natty Records is one of those.
Right.
One of those here in Cincinnati.
That's correct.
Okay. So now, tell me some new artists that you might have that we could look out for.
Absolutely. Let's start with the country music.
Okay.
Because, for those that don't know, there are more country music radio stations in this area than there are R&B, rock, pop, everything else. Country music is huge. I happen to love country music. And country music and R&B are synonymous with one another. A lot of people don't know that, but they are. They are essentially the root of each other.
I was listening to your music last night.
Yes.
I America? What was the name of this?
It's called America, There's Only One.
America, There's Only One. Yeah, look it up. It's a great song.
Yeah, it's a country pop.
And it's
anthem.
very patriotic because we're patriotic.
That's right. It's a country pop anthem. I wrote that last year. We actually have that song. It's out. It's on YouTube, and there's a video associated with it. If you want to go up to YouTube and check it out, or you can go to nattyrecords.com because it's on the website as well. But check it out, America There's Only One, and we are connected to the Hudson Valley Honor Flight program, where they've taken that song and they've made it their signature song. So whenever these flights go to D.C., taking veterans who've never seen the War Memorial and that kind of thing, America There's Only One is the song that is played. So we're very thankful. And I'm donating, when I say the company, we're donating a percentage of the sales of that song to the Honor Flight program.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you were going on about the country music stars.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yes, so the country music folks that we have a young lady, we're very fortunate, signed her deal with Natty Records last year. Her name is Allison Paratikos.
Is that Greek?
That is of Greek descent. Yes, that is correct. And which is interesting too. But she auditioned for American Idol back in 2012.
So.
But she auditioned for American Idol back in 2012. She didn't make the show, but she did get a chance to audition for J-Lo and Keith Urban and all those good folks. And I had the fortune of still living back and forth between Kingston, New York, and Cincinnati, because I do have, the Natty Records has concerns over there. We do a lot of our recording and mixing and mastering in Kingston, New York. By the way, at the Clubhouse Studio, Paul Antonell, good friend of ours, and I want to give him a quick shout out, as well as Bruce Berkey, and Bruce Berkey at his studio over in New York. One of the things that we do as far as our recording, we have a direct connection with New York, Cincinnati, and Los Angeles, where Natty is concerned. I want to make sure I stay on point with the country artists.
No, go ahead, because the whole point is I want to get, Cincinnati, we have this ridiculous reputation or whatever. People don't know how artistically gifted. There's a lot of artistically gifted folks come out here, and I'm sure there's a lot of artistically gifted folks that are, randomly might be watching this.
Cincinnati has produced,
and
so many.
they have art, and you can help them make income.
Yes.
So that they can continue to pursue their art.
Exactly. So one of the things that Natty Records is doing is we are adding something to the community here in Cincinnati. We are trying to encourage young folks who have a dream, whether it's acting, dancing, music, or whatever. Reach out to us, and we're going to reach out to you. We want to get involved with the schools here. We want to be able to be an outlet.
So you do more than music representation?
Absolutely, we do more than music. Yes, our goal, again, we do everything from like I said, media, entertainment, acting. Yes, because again, we are doing business as Natty Entertainment Media. So it's Natty Records LLC doing business as Natty Entertainment Media, which covers acting, television, film, all of those sorts of things.
Okay.
Right. And we ultimately hope to have in the very near future internet radio and internet television as additional components.
Congratulations, brother.
Yes,
I think it's a great idea. I know there's a lot of talent agencies here in Cincinnati, and I think you would be one of the few that do all of those.
That's the point. We're trying to be all-encompassed, totally self-contained. So that we have to outsource for as little as possible.
Very good. Great idea. Great idea. Now, so we're trying to help someone out there that is interested in working at Natty Records.
Yes.
That, first of all, Natty Records needs a hustler.
Absolutely.
We're looking for a hustler, male or female.
That matters.
Hustler that is looking to learn the business, that wants to be an intern at Natty Records, because their passion is the arts, and here it's not just music.
Right.
It's all forms of entertainment.
Right.
And we're looking for someone that wants to be an intern at Natty Records, and they're going to have to reach out to Mr. Anderson Sr. here.
Yes.
Reach out to him at wendell.anderson81@gmail.com.
That's right.
Send him your resume, CV, or bio.
Yes.
And they will reach out to you, and you might get an opportunity to learn from one of the best here in Cincinnati.
We hope.
Yeah. And so now, tell me, what if someone that would come on in such a position, tell me what some of their responsibilities might be, or what they might be doing initially, and what the benefits to them might be.
Right. One of the first things we like to do is familiarize folks with, let's say, when we have an artist that we book, and that artist is going to do a show, we want to take you out here so you can see how we set it up from the time that we leave to go to that venue, what things are taking place by the time we arrive at that venue, and cases are being pulled out and carried inside, and how efficient you can become in setting up for the act that's going to perform. We're going to teach you staging. We're going to teach you about lighting. We're going to teach you about audio. So you're going to get a hands-on experience with all of these components, because the more you know about what goes on behind you, you're going to be so much better when you're trying to stand out in front, because you've already paid attention. So that way, if the sound doesn't sound right, your ear is going to be able to tell you. If the view doesn't look right, the camera, you're going to be able to pick up on those sorts of things. You're going to know how to set a stage, and you're going to know how to set the lighting and things like that. So as an intern, we want to get you acclimated to that part of the arena, all the while understanding the administrative aspects that go along. There's a lot of phone calling that goes along. There's a lot of research that goes on into looking at artists, trying to figure out, is this an artist that we want to work with? And there's a certain set of criteria that we follow to make sure that we're doing this right. So those are just a few of the things that the intern will be taking part in, but you're going to learn it at a pace that's manageable. You're going to learn it at a pace that you can handle. We're not going to overwhelm you because this is an overwhelming business. We're going to make sure that as we move along incrementally, that you ask all the questions, and we'll stop what we're doing and we'll answer that question and make sure that you got the information that you need so that we can continue to just educate you about this wonderful industry that we're in.
Now, Wendell, I want to apologize because we communicated through your personal email, and I put your personal email on there.
Which is fine.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Is there a Natty email
Yes,
that
yes.
people, so if you could just let
Yes.
the folks know.
Natty Records 60, Natty Records 60 at gmail.com is the Natty Records. That's like on Facebook, but then you can also reach us at nattyrecords.com. That is the company website. So either one of those forms you can reach us. And then we also have a page on the LinkedIn social networking site. We're basically set up with all the social networking sites, but the ones that you can actually, that we generally elicit communication through, Natty Records 60 at gmail.com, nattyrecords.com. You can still send information to my personal email. I'm going to answer you anyway, no matter what. Or LinkedIn, and just look for Wendell Anderson Sr. on LinkedIn.
Now, obviously, this person, you don't discriminate against age
No
or
one.
anything
No,
like
no.
that, but they probably should be somewhat savvy with social media.
You would want to have at least an inkling, and it's kind of hard to imagine this day and age some of these young people that aren't. Now, old farts like me.
Well, I like privacy,
Yeah.
and so I'm on LinkedIn,
Okay.
right? But
Right.
I can't, I'm not, I don't, I'm here to promote the folks that
Right,
come in
right,
and
right.
that are trying to promote
Right.
their work. So,
Right.
but obviously, if I were to have a business similar to yours or what it is that I was doing, I would want someone that is savvy social
And
media
that's
wise,
wh- and-
and
yeah,
that means to me proper social media.
Absolutely.
Someone with style and taste and just
We
they're
got-
very
we got a great-
discerning in their responses.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, Richard. We have an amazing team of folks, like I said, that I've surrounded myself with. We have a social media director, Deborah Zimmerman. We have, again, our attorney, Rick Enriquez. We've got
What a great opportunity. There's a
logistics,
hustler out there
Yeah,
that is listening to this. This is
Yes.
a wonderful opportunity to learn
right.
from the ground floor on
That's
up
right.
every aspect
Of the record business
of
and
the
the
record
and the entertainment.
business
So
and the entertainment business.
under one roof.
Okay, so now we talked about this. I'm going to ask you some random questions. Can I ask you
Absolutely,
random questions?
absolutely. Fire away.
So, music is would you say that's your passion?
It is my life.
It is your life.
Yes.
So, because I ask people this question, if you're given $1 trillion, or you make, some people don't like being given things.
Okay.
You make $1 trillion. You take care of your family's short-term and long-term needs.
Right.
You do whatever social service that you want to do.
Right.
You travel everywhere and you buy everything. After you've done all of those things, let's say you're able to do that, what would you then do to give yourself joy?
As long as it is working with kids in any capacity, it doesn't matter if it's music, if it's sports, outdoors, if I'm able to work with kids to help teach them some things about this big old world that they're eventually going to inherit, it's just simple because that doesn't require any money at all.
So your passion is music
Yes.
combined with helping,
Service.
I say the Whitney Houston thing of like, the children are our future.
That's it. Living my life in service of others. That's the way we were raised.
Okay. Another random question.
Okay.
All right. And there's no wrong answers to these. Based on your idea of intelligence, based on your idea of people that are have made contributions, vast contributions to society, tell whatever you believe that to be. Give me your five folks that you think that have made the most, that you think the brightest and most influential in society, but they cannot be activists.
They cannot be active.
Because by now we all know we're equal.
Right. Okay, so if they're not activists, I want to say Well, I want to say Muhammad Ali, but then he was.
Okay, but okay.
Can we use?
Yeah, sure.
We know he
was an
was
athlete. Okay.
Right.
So out of in the history of the world, Muhammad
Right,
Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
Gandhi.
He was an activist.
Right. Okay. You said activist. Okay. Now. All right. So Muhammad Ali, Michelle Obama.
Okay.
Let's see. Dr. J.
It's fine.
Julius Irving.
Yeah.
I love him.
I saw him. I just saw a documentary on him at Rucker Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. Stevie Wonder. And Nat King Cole.
Oh, you just decided to name off all your favorite musicians. That's fine. I love it. I love it.
This is where
this is
my
who you are.
influences. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Yes.
So tell me now, besides music,
Yes.
what are some of your passions outside of your work?
Okay. Outside of my work, basketball has always been my number one.
Oh, what
love.
position?
I was a guard and small forward most of
Hughes?
the time at Hughes, and I played basketball and football in high school. I played a year and a half at Ohio State, tore up my Achilles tendon.
You played basketball
Yeah, I
at
was
Ohio
on
State?
the freshman team. Just I didn't.
So was that-
nothing significant?
No, was that during when Bobby Knight played there?
Actually, well, yeah, yes.
Bobby Knight
yes.
and-
In fact, Jim Smith and those guys were still with us at Ohio State. Jim Clemens, I'm sorry. Jim Clemens. Who else was on it? Kent Benson was the center.
Even if you, I mean,
And Bobby Knight was still the coach at Indiana. Yes, because in fact,
didn't Bobby Knight played at Ohio State.
No, he played at Ohio State. Yeah,
right,
but he was
that
also
wasn't during your.
Oh no.
Because I don't know how
Not
old
when he
Bobby
played.
Knight is.
Oh no, he's older than me.
Yeah, okay.
I'm 62.
Apologize,
He's older
Mr.
than
Knight.
me.
I didn't know.
No, that's okay. Yeah, but you're right. But when he coached, he was coaching Indiana as when I was playing. Yeah, but again, I was a freshman, so I'm up here playing against guys like Campy Russell over at Minnesota and all those guys.
But you still were look.
So.
Look, obviously I talk about this. Folks with you have a very high degree of physical intelligence. And what I mean by that is that people are always, from preschool to postgraduate, we study the mind.
Yes, okay.
And but we don't have currently, and this is something I'm passionate about, is to have a current structured system where you're learning about the human body from preschool to postgraduate. Not only the sciences of anatomy, physiology, biology, even the mathematical sciences, are involved in movement, physics, but also actual, the arts.
Yes.
Then music and physical education take on a whole new meaning if we can incorporate the sciences into it, right? And so,
absolutely.
Right, and so. You have a high degree of academic intelligence, I could tell.
Thank
you. By you being able to put together all those things that you were able to do. And you have to have a high degree of social intelligence to go through the Air Force being a creative person.
Yes, sir.
Right? And so you were able to do that.
Yes, sir.
And then I think physical intelligence is also very important because I
agree.
as a person that's a performer, they have to be able to read a room.
Definitely.
I love my DJ friends. I have lots of friends that are DJs. God bless you guys.
Yeah.
But I know this for myself. But sometimes, you know how when you're younger, there's a song that moves you because you connected to something in your life,
right.
And you remember that song,
right.
And then you get up there and you're playing that song,
right.
And you're just like you're going for it.
You're in it.
But the people that are there might not, might not be reading that vibe, right? And so it's for you to know, and maybe you just don't care. You're just like, this song is for you.
No, I share your point.
Yeah, but I know some people that, and I'm sure there are songs that I love. I'm sure that probably because of something that either you're going through or something exciting. Or,
I think it's generational as much as anything. We grew up in a period where songs were about something, and the artist knew how to deliver that message so that you understood you understood the subject and you felt the performance. You don't have a lot of that today because everybody's gotten away from live performing. I mean, what you have now, again, young person writes a song, They, record it. They go straight to YouTube. Somebody holds an S7 or a camera and shoots a little video, bang, and they're out there. So there's really no opportunity to discern whether or not this person can even perform. We don't know. Look at Justin Bieber and all these other little kids that come along. I'm not judging, but
I'm not a hater.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you. But, I was what you were saying is interesting because I was again I randomly watch things, but Penn and Teller.
Right. Yes, I'm very familiar.
Okay, so Penn Jillette was saying that magic that's not live is not really
magic.
And he was also saying that about movies and television versus live theater, where you actually see the person in that hour, 2-3 hours. Play multiple characters or play various facets of that character
and you believe it.
Live.
And you believe it. They're doing it right in front of you.
Whereas he was saying sometimes he sees a performance by a great actor on film or television, and this is still, obviously it's still a very hard medium.
It loses
where you just know that person was able to take 15 takes.
Right, exactly.
To get it right. And whereas with live,
that's the point.
You have no...
it's happening right now.
Trust me, I'm going to make mistakes because I do. No editing here. We're going to make mistakes, and we love them.
It's happening in real time, and that's what I love about it. Because again, the fallibility of it. When it's live, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You rehearse and you get it right, but then when it's on, when that light comes on, you got to shine.
And it's that energy. I'm sure
that's what
it's a lot of pressure in it.
It's more pressure. Because like I said, anybody can go in the studio and record a perfect record.
Okay.
But now when you have to go out and perform that record and you don't have all the studio accoutrements and you don't have all of that stuff, now you got to do this for a live audience. They're going to know the difference. They're going to know that you can't really sing because you use an auto-tune in the studio, whatever. I'm not judging. Again, I'm just pointing out the obvious
things. We're not haters,
things.
but we know the way things...
We just call it like we see it.
Yeah.
You'd rather have honesty than fabrication, because if you're gonna make it in this business, deal with somebody that's got a good reputation, Natty Records. Deal with somebody that's gonna tell you the truth, Natty Records.
Okay, so now we're gonna wrap things up with some interesting and fun things about you. So tell me some of the more interesting places that you traveled to. You're a young African-American brother from Cincinnati who is now going to New York, upstate New York. You're traveling to Turkey. You're traveling around the world through the Air Force.
Right.
So tell me some interesting things that places that you went and some interesting experiences with the music. And then, you're never supposed to ask a singer to sing. Maybe you can sing a bar. I don't.
We'll see what happens.
As we fade out and everything, as we get, and maybe you can sing something for us, because I don't know how these things go. I don't.
We'll see what we can come up with.
All right.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's see here. How do we want to frame our?
I'll do a little dancing. I want
to address the first part of the question that you were asking.
Where did you go? Some of the more interesting.
Let's see. Korea, Japan, Singapore. I love it. Japan in particular. I had a wonderful time. Japan. I got a chance to ride the bullet train and that sort of thing. But the people were very nice and friendly. And I will dare say that through all my travels around the world, for all the years that I've been fortunate to travel the globe. And that includes the continental United States. I've been fortunate to have been through all of our states several times. And again, this is what entertainment has afforded me to do. And I don't want to get it misconstrued that that I have it financially like that. To me, it's about what I've been able to do, almost having no money. And that's the blessing, because I was rewarded for my efforts. So if that makes any sense to you, I was rewarded for my efforts because I kept going. And I said, okay, I don't have the money to get here, but I'm going to find a way to get it done anyway, legally. And we were able to do that. So I would say, that part of the world, I had a great time. Let's see, had a wonderful time in Greece and in Crete. Did a lot of things. I was introduced to calamari, the way that they eat it there. I was actually able to eat it. I didn't think that I would like it, but I managed to do that. But here in the States, I won't buy it. I won't. But if I go over there,
people, there's a book that came out, Real Food, Fake Food,
yeah,
where 100% of the sushi restaurants in this country
Are dying.
failed in the type of fish that was being served. So they
Right.
said it was yellow tuna or white tuna. It
White
was
tuna.
never
It was never.
white tuna.
No.
And so and they talk about olive oil. People that travel to
And I use a lot of olive oil.
overseas, once they taste olive oil for real, which is basically cold expressed juice of olives,
Of olives.
right?
Right.
They're just
It
and then they
tastes
come
nothing
here
like
and
what we buy
yeah, and
at
so
the
it's
source.
like really having to be I'm a foodie. I love
that. That's
I love
good. That's
food,
good. Good.
and I don't care what anyone tells me it tastes good.
Yeah.
I like my own cooking.
Okay.
I know what my own style is for me,
Nice.
and I know what I'm putting it for
Yeah.
in it for myself.
Right.
And so that's like a huge experience for people because people sometimes just get, I know very very well-off folks, and that will love McDonald's
Yeah.
or Kentucky Fried Chicken because they grew up with the taste.
Right.
There's nothing wrong. I'm
Nothing
sure it's
wrong
not,
with that
but I'm
occasionally.
sure for me, I'd like to make my own.
I'm the same way.
I mean, I'm vegetarian now.
Okay.
But I would make, and no one, I'm a vegetarian that loves meat. I don't know how to explain this. I love golden lamb and everything, all these sort
Okay.
of things. I've always eaten them all my life.
yeah.
But I'm saying, but just to, I would rather have like a homemade
I'm the same way. We're the
meal,
same way.
burger.
I cook. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
most of the cooking in our home. And we try to eat healthy. I can cook pretty much anything from scratch. My mother, I watched her growing up, and I'm probably the best cook out of my siblings as well. So.
We get along like crazy, man. So,
sir.
I mean, yeah, but where else were you going? You were going to...
So we talked about Greece and Crete, and several of the states, obviously, had a lot of activity in California being one because I lived there for a number of years, and then New York being another. I'm actually been feeling like slightly like a fish out of water back here in my hometown because I hadn't lived here for so long. Because right after high school, 1972, for about another year or so, then to Ohio State, and then directly from Ohio State to the Air Force. So I didn't come back to live in Cincinnati for the first time in my adult life until 2009. And it's
Can you
2016, so...
People think, you see the way I look at everything, my gosh, they've never seen an Orthodox person here for a long time or something.
yeah.
So I'm like a vegetarian Duck Dynasty, don't worry. ZZ Top, vegetarian Duck Dynasty, no worries.
Yeah. So those would be, some of the places that I've had some wonderful, visits to, places I certainly would like to go back to. But more than anything else, it is now, incumbent upon me to try and help put that dream under some other folks out here who want to see these places you've never been or only imagined. Part of our goal is to help push your dream and get you out there. So.
Well, good. I really appreciated having you on.
It's been great. It's been great.
So let's,
Thank you so much.
Let's finish off with, some of your, some last minute things that you might want to say to
Absolutely.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We're trying to get an intern
Yes.
for Natty Records.
Right. We really look forward to putting some information out here, like we said before. If you get a resume, get us a bio, send it to nattyrecords60@gmail.com. Send it to nattyrecords.com. Send it to me on my LinkedIn page or hit me on Facebook, Wendell E. Anderson Sr. on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. Natty Records is here to stay. We're trying to add something unique and serious to to the communities that we serve, but let alone to the Cincinnati skyline. If you have a desire to make it in this music business and the entertainment business, even if we don't ultimately bring you onto the label or whatever, for whatever reason, we can still help you. Call us. We can answer your questions. We can help guide you. We can consult. We do a lot of those things. Our goal is to help you do it right. And that's my life's work. So if there's any way that I can be of service to you out there in this world that we call music and entertainment industry, that's what we're here for. We live to serve, and I'm just so thankful for this opportunity to talk more about the company that we're building and the folks that are working with me. And we're going to be here for a while. So nattyrecords.com. Check us out.
Okay, thank you, brother. This was a wonderful experience.
Pleasure.
You were I met this brother. He's so modest. He didn't say anything about himself or anything. And then, you know, somehow randomly I'm like, what? we gotta, you know, share your experience.
Yes.
Look how, I mean, he's Natalie dressed for
That's
Natty Records. Natalie dressed.
That's it. That is the equation.
I think you should show the people at home your shoes, your boots, brother.
Well, let's see here. Let's see how do we get them up here?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Okay,
yeah, look at those
can you
boots.
see that?
This brother's killing it today. My goodness.
So all you got to do is just remember this. What Natty Records is going to do is we're going to take you from where you are. We're going to shake it up a little bit. We're going to rock the boat. So just remember this. Ever since our voyage of love began, your touch has thrilled me like the rush of the wind, and your arms have held me safe from a rolling sea. There's always been a quiet place to harbor you and me. Our love is like a ship on the ocean. We've been sailing with a cargo full of love and devotion. So I'd like to know where you got the notion. Said I'd like to know where you got the notion to rock the boat. Don't rock the boat, baby, rock the boat. Don't tip the boat over. Hope you enjoyed that. Natty Records.
Thank you so much. My gosh, you made my day. You inspired me. You brought joy to our lives.
It's a pleasure.
And enjoy your day.
Yes, sir, we will. Thank you.